It was dusk, it was dark. I had either a green or a green arrow, I don't know which, and I made the left, and all of a sudden, boom! I did not see the car coming because it was coming down a hill and it didn't have its lights on. And the next thing I know, I'm kind of dazed and going down the street.
The car hits him so hard that all the airbags in this vehicle deployed. The airbag pushes him back so hard into the seat, he can't reach the pedals well, and he can't really, steer the vehicle. So the vehicle rolls down for a while as he's trying to regain control of it. Several people called 911 about that. The second call to 911 was Mark from his vehicle asking for help. Mark finally gets control of the vehicle, stops it in the parking lot in the mall. As he's doing that, some cops come in and say, "Why'd you run away from the accident?" It's like, what? And they accuse Mark of running away from the accident.
Made me walk the line. They looked at my eyes and all that. "Have you been drinking?" "Well, I just got done playing golf a little earlier and I had a beer on the golf course." I had to blow in the breathalyzer there, and then they took me to the police station and drew blood.
We get the blood work back because they decided they were going to check his blood for DUI because, oh yeah, if you get in an accident, I guess you're automatically driving under the influence, right? Unsurprisingly, 0.05.
And legal's 08, so I was below that.
Why in the world was he arrested? Why in the world did Mark have to spend a night in jail? Why?
Even if you assume that Mark didn't do very well on the field sobriety test, he had just been in an accident. You don't ask a person to walk a line after they've been hit in that kind of an accident. It was a major, major blow to the vehicle. You don't have him walk a line. You get him to an ambulance to get checked, see if his head is right. That's what you do.
He was not over the limit. He was not impaired.
But for some reason, the prosecutor decided that 0.05 was good enough for him, and he wanted to prosecute Mark for a DUI as well.
It was just me at the time. I didn't even have Javier at the time. It's not like he was my attorney, and as soon as it happened, I called him up and said, "Hey, here's what's going on." So I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't want this thing hanging over, especially if it was a DUI. And through my wife's contact at work, we found Javier to help me out.
For my clients, it's usually impossible. It's impossible to make a cold decision, something like this, because it's their money, their life, their reputation, and their freedom at risk, right? And potentially their future, right? So it's hard. I got to be cold. So we did a settlement conference with a judge. So a settlement conference is basically you go in front of a judge, not the judge from your trial, but a different judge. And each party tells the judge, "Oh, I'm going to win because of this. And this is the deal that I would be willing to take," right? The judge kind of tries to help the parties to see if you can file a non-trial disposition, right? If you can resolve it without going to trial. But the offers that he was making, they were just not good enough. So we were going to go to trial. Because I told him, he's not going to plead guilty because you're not going to convict him. To this date, Mark maintains his innocence, and I believe he's completely innocent.
We've had quite a few conversations along the period of that. I'd just go in there every once in a while. He'd make time for me to ask the questions and do what I had to do. We went from there.
Finally, he said, "Okay, I'll dismiss it if you do the classes and put an intox license in your vehicle for a year or for 6 months or whatever it was." And after he finished everything, they just dismissed the case. The case went away. I find it upsetting and disappointing that prosecutors sometimes forget that their job is to be a minister of justice. There was no reason for Mark to go through that. It's just ridiculous.
Obviously, I don't wish that on anybody to go through that circumstance, but in the long run, it turned out fine. All charges were dropped. I don't have anything on my record. From now on, anybody that was in, I said, don't answer any question. Just say, I'll talk to my attorney and we'll go from there. I would recommend Javier, definitely. Heaven forbid. If the situation was to come again, I will give him a jingle. I have his number in my phone, so we're all good.